So there's an awful lot of writing on this one today. So we're working with literal equations and formulas. These are good skills to be carried on. This is some of the stuff that actually works really well in your other classes when you use math in other classes. Oftentimes, it's usually your science classes, and you use a lot of formulas. You're plugging numbers in. Being able to use them is important. So, a literal equation is an equation that involves two or more variables. All of your geometric formulas are literal equations because they have two or more variables. A formula is an equation that states a relationship amongst quantities. That is a technical definition. So how to find the area of a rectangle, how to find the circumference of a circle, and I'm going to give you a bunch of formulas here in a minute. Today we're working with these. Most of what you're going to be doing today is rearranging things. You're going to be rearranging equations and rearranging formulas. So the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, where L is the length and W is the width. P equals 2L plus 2W. Circumference of the circle. Circumference is 2 pi times the radius, 2 pi r, where r equals the radius, c is the circumference. Area of a rectangle is length times width of that rectangle. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, where base, B is the base of the rectangle, H is the triangle, H is the height of the triangle. And unless it's a right triangle, the height is not one of the sides. Only in a right triangle can the height be one of the sides. Otherwise, it's not. Okay? That is a very common mistake for students to make. Move this up. Area of a circle. Area equals pi r squared. Pi r squared, pi r round. Distance traveled. The dirt formula. Distance equals rate times time. Dirt. R is rate, T is time. And temperature. Celsius equals 5/9 times Fahrenheit minus 32. Ah, it's an ugly formula. It's an ugly formula. I'm going to pause. Okay, so here we go. Let's do some work. Problem number 1. Rewriting a literal equation. So we have a situation here. You're ordering pizzas and sandwiches and your budget is $80. If pizzas are $10 and sandwiches $5, we can model the situation with the equation 10x plus 5y equals 80, where x is the number of pizzas and y is the number of sandwiches. How many sandwiches can you buy if you buy 3 pizzas, if you buy 6 pizzas? Here is what you can do. There are 2 ways to do this problem. 1, you can plug in 3 for x and then solve for y, and then do it again with 6, or you can rearrange the equation. When you have to do things more than once, you can rearrange the equation, and that is the point of today anyways, is to rearrange the equation. So here's what I want to do. I want to solve for y, because it's asking me how many sandwiches, and my sandwiches are y. So I want to solve that equation for y. I want to get y by itself. Here's what you do. Same steps you would normally do. First step, subtract 10x from both sides. Subtract, subtract, subtract. Okay. Now, your 10x is gone from this side, and you're left with 5y. equals, and this is the place where you need to be careful. I have 80 minus 10x. Can I combine 80 and 10x together? No, they're not like terms. And students go, but I can't do that, so I'm done. Here's what you do. You just write 80 minus 10x. That's all. You can't make them one term, and it's okay to not have them be one term. That's fine. Okay. Second step. I still want to get y by itself. This is 5 times y, so I divide by 5. And I divide everything by 5. And I get y equals 80 divided by 5 is 16. Minus 10x divided by 5 is 2x. That is the equation I want to use. This is rearranging. This is solving a literal equation. I'm solving that equation for y. It means I get y by itself equal to everything else. The difference between what I did here and what you've been doing for the last couple of weeks is that I also got another variable thrown in there, so I can't get y equals a number. I get y equals an expression. Okay. Now, you're thinking, what does that help? Well, here's the thing. I want to know how many sandwiches I can get if I buy 3 pizzas or if I buy 6 pizzas. X is the number of pizzas. So I do, okay, y equals 16 minus 2 times 3. And that'll tell me how many sandwiches I can buy if I buy 3 pizzas. Okay, so y equals 16 minus 2 times 3 is 6. Y equals 10. So if I buy 3 pizzas, I can get 10 sandwiches. Okay. Oops. I can do it again. Same equation. Only I'm looking, okay, what if I buy 6 pizzas? I go, all right, y equals 16 minus 6 times 6. Sorry, 2 times 6. My bad, 2 times 6. 2 times 6. My bad, 2 times 6. So what's 2 times 6? 12. Y equals 16 minus 12. Y equals 4. I can buy 4 sandwiches if I buy 6 pizzas. I can buy 10 sandwiches if I buy 3 pizzas. Okay? The idea is I can take one equation, rearrange it to make it more useful for what I want. That's what the point of this is to take something that's not really useful and make it into something that is extremely useful to use. That's what this is about, is being able to do that. Okay, and I know this is difficult. And I know this is not the easiest thing we're going to do by a long shot. Okay, so same idea. Okay, you're ordering cookies and cupcakes, your budget is $30. If cookies are $2 and cupcakes are $3, because these are really freaking good cookies and cupcakes. Okay, you go places where they are by $2 and $2 for a cookie and $3 for a cupcake. They're pretty good cookies, particularly if they're $2 a cookie. Okay, we can model a situation with 2x plus 3y equals 30, where x is the number of cookies, y is the number of cupcakes. How many cookies can you buy with 4 cupcakes and 6 cupcakes? So my first question to you is, what variable is cookies? Y is the number of cupcakes, so x is the number of cookies. So what you need to do, here's what I want you to do, is solve this one for x. Take a minute, rearrange it. I want x equals. Take a minute and do that. Don't do the rest of it till you know. Okay. My first step to get x by itself is to subtract 3y from both sides. Okay. So I get 2x equals 30 minus 3y. My next step is to divide by 2. Divide everything by 2. So I get x equals 30 divided by 2 is 15 minus 3 halves y. And I know that looks ugly, but that's okay. Trust me, that's okay. It's not going to be bad. But this is our rearranged equation. And now we need to use that for if we buy 4 cupcakes or 6 cupcakes. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to put 4 in for y, and then you're going to put 6 in for y. Put 4 in for y, see what you get. Put 6 in for y, see what you get. Trust me, it looks nastier than it will be, but I want you to do that. Okay, so how many if we buy 4 cupcakes? X equals 15 minus 3 halves times 4. Okay. This is not as hard as it looks. What is half of 4? 2. What's 2 times 3? 6. So this is x is 15 minus 6. So I get 9. If I buy 4 cupcakes, I can get 9 cookies. Doing the same thing with 6 cupcakes. X equals 15 minus 3 halves times 6. What is half of 6? 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. So this becomes 9. X equals 15 minus 9. X equals 6. If I buy 6 cupcakes, I can get 6 cookies. Okay? Remember, fraction button on your calculators if you're having troubles working with the fractions. 3, fraction button, 2 times 6 equals, and it'll spit it out for you. Okay? You're allowed to use the technology, use the technology. Okay, rewriting a literal equation with only variables. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing we did in our first step. You're going to solve for a particular variable. Okay. So the first one, it's actually a lot easier than it looks. It looks nasty, doesn't it? X times C minus B is equal to A minus B is equal to C. I want to get X by itself. Normally, what would you do? Normally, you see parentheses, what would you do? You would distribute, right? Don't do that here because what am I trying to get by itself? I'm trying to get X by itself, which means I need to get rid of whatever else is there. Now, when I have X with the parentheses, that means X times whatever's in the parentheses, right? Because that's what you do when you distribute, when it's times. So here's what I do. Divide both sides by A minus B. Look what happens. My A minus B's cancel each other and I get X equals C over A minus B. That's it. It looks really complicated and it's not a pretty answer when you're done, but it's not that hard. One step, you're finished. This one will take a couple more. Yes, ma'am.
Can you fix your B?
No. Oh. Should I fix it because it's bothering her?
No.
Yes.
How many people say yes?
9.
How many people say no? How many people are indifferent? Yeah, that's the way I am.
Make it work.
Okay. Here, I'll fix this one. I'll leave the other one alone. There, compromise.
Yeah. See.
Compromise.
Why you gotta do that?
Compromise.
That's not fair.
Yeah, it is. It's perfectly fair. Compromise. Okay. So this one, we want to solve for X. Here's my question to you. If instead of Y, I had like 6 there, what would your first step be? Your first step would be to add 5, right? Just because I have a Y here instead of some number, my first step for solving for X is exactly the same. my first step is still add 5 to both sides. Just because it's y instead of a particular number doesn't change my first step. So I have y plus 5 equals 3x. Now, if I had some number here, let's say 15, what would I do to solve for x? I divide by 3, right? Divide both sides by 3, and I get, I'm right over here for room, y plus 5 over 3 is equal to x. That's my answer. It's not pretty, but that's okay. It's not pretty, but that's okay. But what did I do? I did exactly the same steps as if I were solving it if it were a number there instead of y. I added 5. I divided by 3, just like I would any other equation. Okay, your turn. Y equals negative 2x plus 4. Do that one. Okay, so my first step, if instead of y here I had, let's say, 10, my first step would be to subtract 4 from both sides. So my first step is to subtract 4 from both sides. Y minus 4 is equal to negative 2x. And once again, I want to get x by itself. I have negative 2 times x, the opposite of that. Divide by negative 2. And I get y minus 4 over negative 2 is equal to x. Last page. Okay, rewriting a geometric formula. So the directions tell me what I need to do first in order to solve the problem. Here's what to do. Radius of a circle with a circumference of 64. So, what is the formula for circumference of a circle? It's on the front page. Circumference equals 2 pi times the radius. Right? Okay, that's the formula that's on the front. I want to find the radius, which means I need to get r by itself first and then plug the numbers in. Okay? So, 2 pi r means 2 times pi times r. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So instead of multiplying 2 pi times r to get r by itself, I divide both sides by 2 pi. Those cancel. And I get the radius is equal to the circumference divided by 2 pi. That's half my answer. That's step 1. Step 2. Plug in. What's my circumference? 64. And what does it say to use for pi? 3.14. So my radius is equal to 64 divided by 2 times 3.14. And what do? You pull out a calculator and do it on your calculator. So I'm not even doing that one in my head. It says round to the nearest tenth. So r equals 10.19, so that rounds off to 10.2 feet. My units are feet. Okay. So, second one. First step. What is the formula for the area of a rectangle? Yeah, write it down. You've got it on your paper, write it down on here. What is the formula for the area of a rectangle? Notice how I write my L's? I do a cursive L when I have to use it as a variable so it doesn't look like a 1. Okay? It's a habit I've gotten into. I don't ever confuse my L's with 1s because of that. You can, but it's usually standard form is lowercase l, lowercase w in this formula. Okay? So I like to stick with that, and that's what I'm going to do. If on a test you had uppercase L, I'd be okay with that. I'm not going to mark you down. Okay, I wouldn't mark you down for that if you used uppercase just to make it not look like a 1. It's not the end of the world. This is standard, so I stick with standard. Okay. What are we going to solve for? We're solving for length. So rearrange this to get L by itself. What do I do to get L by itself? Do that. You need to get L by itself. What do you do this to get L by itself? Do that. Solve for L. Get L equals. So this is LW means L times W, right? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So you would divide both sides by W. Those cancel. And I get the length is equal to the area divided by the width. Okay. Now, use the other information to find the width. Finish the problem. 30 is the area, 6 is the width, find the length. Plug those numbers into the new formula you just created. Okay, so it shouldn't take that long. That's your area. That's your width. So my length is equal to 30 divided by 6. So my length would be 5. Okay. Now, I know that many of you do not need to go through all of this to find this. That is not the point. Okay, it's not the point. Just answering the problem is not the point. Sometimes the technique is the point of the problem. Doing it in a particular way to learn a particular skill. If you're asked to do something, to find something and do it in a particular manner, and you don't follow the instructions, I don't care if you get the right answer or not, you're getting nothing. It is a regular thing in algebra to do things a particular method. Graph using point slope. Graph using XY intercepts. If you use point slope instead of XY intercepts, when I say specifically to use XY intercepts, I don't care how good the line is. You didn't follow the instructions, you're going to get 0, because I want to know that you can do it more than one way. Okay, and it happens. There are several things that are like that throughout the year. You don't follow the particular directions, you will get a 0 because I need to see that you know how to do it more than one way. Okay? The point of this wasn't this. The point of this problem was this over here, rearranging. That was the point of today's lesson. This is just a little extra on the side, so to speak. Okay?